Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Krishna Chandra, Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe. Jai Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram. Jai Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Jai Nitai Gaurango. जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह, प्रहलाद नरसिंह, प्रहलाद नरसिंह, जय सुदर्शना। जय जय प्रभुपाद, 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 जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद् हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री निताय गौरांग की जय। श्री श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंह देव की जय। श्री श्री सुदर्शन भगवान की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. ग्रंथरा श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 7th Canto 10th Chapter, Text number 6. Aham tu akamas tvadbhaktas. Aham tvakamas tvadbhaktas. Tvam cha swami anapashrayah. Tvam cha swami anapashrayah. Nanyate havayor artho. Nanyate havayor artho. Raja sevakayor eva. Raja sevakayor eva. Aham tvakamas tvadbhaktas. Tvam cha swamyanapashrayah. Nanyate havayor artho. Raja sevakayor eva. aham tvakamastvadbhaktas tvam cha swami anapashrayah nanyate havayorartho sevatayoriva aham tvakamastvadbhaktas tasami anapashrayah nanyate havayorartho jasevakayoriva aham tvakamastvadbhaktas taswami anapashrayah nanyate havayorartho rajasevakayoriva aham tvakamastvadbhaktas taswami anapashrayah nanyate havayorartho rajasevakayoriva aham, as far as I am concerned, tu, indeed, akamaha, without material desire, tvad bhaktaha, fully attached to you, without motivation, tvam cha, your lordship also, swami, the real master, anapashrayah, without motivation. You do not become the master with motivation. Na, not, anyatha, without being in such a relationship as master and servant. Iha, here, avayo, are, arthaha, any motivation. The Lord is the pure master, and Prahlāda Mahārāja is the pure devotee with no materialistic motivation. Raja, of a king, sevakayoho, and the servitor, eva, like, just as a king exacts taxes for the benefit of the servant, or the citizens pay taxes for the benefit of the king. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation: O my Lord, I am your unmotivated servant, and you are my eternal master. There is no need of our being anything other than master and servant. You are naturally my master, and I am naturally your servant. We have no other relationship. Please repeat. O my Lord, I am your unmotivated servant, and you are my eternal master. There is no need of our being anything other than the master and servant. You are naturally my master, and I am naturally your servant. We have no other relationship. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Jivera Swarupa hai Krishnera Nitya Dasa. Every living being is eternally a servant of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. I am the proprietor of all the planets, and I am the supreme enjoyer. This is the natural position of the Lord, and the natural position of the living being is to surrender unto Him. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. If this relationship continues, then real happiness exists eternally between the master and servant. Unfortunately, when this eternal relationship is disturbed, the living entity wants to become separately happy and thinks that the master is his order supplier. In this way, there cannot be happiness, nor should the master cater to the desires of the servant. If he does, he is not the real master. The real master commands, "You must do this," and the real servant immediately obeys the order. Unless this relationship between the Supreme Lord and the subordinate living entity is established, there can be no real happiness. The living entity's ashraya, always subordinate, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Vishaya, the supreme objective, the goal of life. Unfortunate persons trapped in this material world do not know this. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnum. Illusioned by the material energy, everyone in this material world is unaware that the only aim of life is to approach Vishnu. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnor aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. In the Padma Puran, Lord Shiva explains to his wife Parvati, the goddess Durga, that the highest goal of life is to satisfy Lord Vishnu, who can be satisfied only when his servant is satisfied. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore teaches, Gopi bhartuf pat kamalayor das dasanu dasaha. One must become a servant of the servant. Prahlāda Mahārāja also prayed to Lord Narsingh that he might be engaged as the servant of the Lord's servant. This is the prescribed method of devotional service. As soon as a devotee wants the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be his order supplier, the Lord immediately refuses to become the master of such a motivated devotee. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tans tathaiva bhajamyaham. As one surrenders unto me, I reward him accordingly. Materialistic persons are generally inclined to material profits. As long as one continues in such an adulterated position, he does not receive the benefit of returning home back to Godhead. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gaurvani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the previous verse we discussed pure master and pure servant. Prahlāda Mahārāja is expressing that a servant who is engaged in service for some material returns or any benefit, he is not a pure servant. Similarly, if the master is maintaining his position simply to maintain some prestige, I need to fulfill the desires of my servant, so that I can maintain the prestige, I can award the benedictions. He is also not a pure master. Master should not desire to maintain his prestige as master, and servant should not desire any returns. Then such a servant is pure servant and master is pure master. So here in this verse, Prahlāda Mahārāja is explaining. So I am your pure servant. Aham tu akamas tvad bhaktas. I am your bhakt, I am your servant. Akama means without any material desire. I am your unmotivated servant and you are my eternal master. There is no need of our being anything other than master and servant. You are naturally my master and I am naturally your servant. We have no other relationship. Raja sevakayo riva. Why a servant serves the king? He has no other option. His position is to serve. Raja sevak. Sevak means sevak will serve. That is the duty of a sevak. Similarly, Raja, one may ask why Raja is maintaining an ideal Raja ideal. He has to maintain. That is his position. So in a similar fashion, Prahlāda Mahārāja is telling, that is my natural position. I cannot do anything but engage in your service. So usually when we discuss with people, when we find somebody is having his own initiative, his own business, that why you started this. So people often mention, because usual answer is, there could be many reasons of course, but the usual answer is that because I cannot work under somebody. So because I cannot work under somebody, so I want to start my own thing. So this is the natural tendency, that here nobody wants to become under somebody. However, that is a great illusion. It's a myth. We have to be under somebody always. So that is why those people who do not want to be under somebody, as we discussed, they are more stressed in this world. Because you are going against the design of this world. In this world, you have to be under somebody. Yes, if you are engaged in business as Vaishya, Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijyam, as a matter of duty, prescribed duty, then it's all right. But if you have a desire that I want to become king, because then I will not be under somebody, or I want to have my own business so that I do not be under somebody, then we will be more frustrated. Because the very understanding is wrong. Everyone has to be under somebody in this material world. Now, who is that somebody? That we have to decide. And that somebody is mentioned here. He is Krishna. If anyway we have to be under somebody, then let me be under Krishna. So thus Prabhupada tells, our philosophy is simple. Everyone has to follow some leader. Nobody is without leader. So in communist countries, they are following Stalin, Lenin, Marx as their leaders. They are following their philosophy. So we are also requesting people that anyway you are not independent, you are following somebody. Capitalist is following somebody. And just like some atheist was telling, he took the name of some national leader, that he tells this is all hoax, whatever is created. But again, atheist is also following some leader. So everyone is following some leader. That is a natural tendency, that we cannot be independent. We have to follow somebody. So atheists take inspiration from atheistic leaders, but they have to follow somebody. Atheists will not do deity worship, but what they will worship? Deity of atheistic leader. So statue worship, that is not actually deity worship, statue worship. So they also have to do that. They will put garland and they will offer flowers. They will do all the things, same things. But in Bhagavatam it is mentioned, it is a great offense. So nowadays so many Jayantis we celebrate. Jayanti means appearance day. Yes. So we see so many great leaders also. They are celebrating Jayanti. And many people, they go, they offer flowers to mundane personalities who are conditioned by this material world. Their Jayanti is being celebrated. So in Bhagavatam it is mentioned, it is great offense, because the days of Jayanti are reserved only for the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his pure devotees. So for conditioned soul, if you are offering the same thing, offering flowers, there is a great offense. So there is nothing called celebration for the poor person. He has come into jail on that day. And you are celebrating, oh, very nice. You again got conditioned today. Your another term of punishment began today. So that is foolishness. The celebration of Jayanti is for Lord Krishna, who comes here to deliver his pure devotees. His appearance is always auspicious. So it is a time for celebration. For conditioned soul, it is More punishment. He could not get liberated. Again he is sent here. Shirne Punne Martya Lokam Vishanti. Again he came to material world, mortal world. So unfortunately people do not have sense. So thus they will also be doing the same thing. They also have to follow leadership. They will do the exactly same thing what we are doing for Krishna. But then what is the result if you follow such other people? They are suffering in this world, as we discussed. Now also we are following leaders. The policies that we have, the systems that we have, that is set up by the leaders. They are the lawmakers. Prime Minister is leading them, or the President. And among all these leaders who are leading the world today, who is the most powerful leader? President of US, of course. Yes, he is the most powerful leader. And among the presidents of US, who has been most famous? Yes. No, he is recent one. Most famous is Abraham Lincoln. Yes, most famous of the presidents of US. So being a leader itself is a tough position. Very, very difficult. There is a lot of struggle to come to leadership positions. And among all the leaders, the best leader is President of United States. And among all of them, the most glorious has been Abraham Lincoln. Right? Very successful, very accomplished, very inspiring, very motivating, seen as a true champion, true leader. And we have all respects for him. But here we need to discuss, very important. Scientists also analyze. They want to keep the brain of some scientists, and they keep also to analyze what makes them so sharp, so intelligent. So analyzing the case is very important so that others also can get the benefit. So thus, if we understand the life of this great leader, it was full of depression. Entire life he was depressed. Entire life. Similarly, which was competing country? Another very powerful nation which captured the entire globe. Next to US, the strongest power was Britain, Great Britain. And that was being led by, that time, Winston Churchill, another very powerful leader. Churchill also was extremely depressed his entire life, to the extent that, if I remember correctly, he tells, I am afraid of standing on the edge of the railway coach because mind can cheat anytime I can jump and commit suicide. I am afraid of standing there. So much depressed. So when the leaders, the most influential leaders of all times of the most powerful nations themselves were very unhappy, can they make any policy by which followers will be happy? No. If the leader himself does not know, he does not have clue, for years he has been depression, then where is the question of framing such policies where followers can be happy? And we are following them. What to speak of other presidents when the best presidents and prime ministers have been so unhappy? What others can do for their benefit or for the benefit of their ward's subjects? So that is why the whole world is bound to remain in such troubles, because we are following wrong leaders. So nobody is free. One has to follow leader. We are dependent. So that is why it behooves one to choose the Supreme Personality of Godhead as leader. Follow exactly what the leader says. This is very important. Now this concept is very clear throughout the Bhagavatam, in previous chapter, in this chapter. Prahlāda Mahārāja is telling the same thing. I am servant, you are master. I am servant, I need to serve you. Pure servant, pure master. Unconditional servant. And everywhere, if you have noticed, then Prabhupada is adding something unique. What is that thing? In the purports? Wherever it is mentioned, as it is mentioned here, leader, servant, Prabhupada adds something unique. And what is that? Prabhupada adds servant of servant, servant of servant, servant of servant. Yes, you need to serve Krishna, you need to please Krishna. Krishna can only be pleased when, as Prabhupada writes here. In the Padma Puran, Lord Shiva explains to his wife Parvati, the goddess Durga, that the highest goal of life is to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Highest goal of life is to satisfy Lord Vishnu, who can be satisfied only when his servant is satisfied. So Prabhupada writes here, because this is very important for us to understand. Yes, satisfying Lord Vishnu is the highest aim of life. Now one may attempt by reading this to try to satisfy Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna directly, as many people say. What is the need of middlemen? These middlemen only are creating all troubles. I will serve my Lord directly. But no, Lord cannot be served directly. We need to take shelter of a person. That is a verdict of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, everywhere. That is why Lord Shiva is also telling the same thing. Whose Aradhana is supreme? Vishnu Aradhanam Param. But higher than that is Tadiyanam Samarchanam. More valuable than worship of God is worship of his pure devotee. Because only by satisfaction of pure devotee is Lord satisfied. So thus always Prabhupada is mentioning, because this point is very, very important. That is why when we discuss sometimes with devotees that how is your spiritual life, so usually devotees mention that yes, Prabhu, it is good. So when we discuss spiritual life, what all do we measure in our spiritual health? First is chanting. Yes. How is chanting? That is one parameter. If you are able to manage good 16 rounds, that means it is one success. Then reading and hearing. Yes, this part of sadhana sheet. And sorry, Manglarti. Yes, morning program. All these things we measure. And service. Yes, we are taking out some time for service. Anything else? Sleeping on time. Yes, regulation. This is also very important. So if we are following all these things, getting up for Mangala Arati, chanting 16 rounds, doing other things, but regulation is not there in our life, then again it is told, Yukta hara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnavabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkaha. Nashnatastu yogo asti. A person who eats too much or does not eat enough, he cannot become yogi. Who sleeps too much, does not sleep enough, cannot become a yogi. So our yoga cannot be successful unless we are very, very regulated in our life. And if a person is not regulated in life, one cannot be happy. So that is why sometimes devotees are not happy even by following other things. Why? Because regulation is not there in the life. Regulation is very, very important. Eating on time, in the right limit, sleeping on time, in the right limits, yukta hara vihara, yukta, working in the right proportion, in the right manner. So eating, sleeping, mating, defending, working, all of them have to be very regulated, means discipline. And that comes in sattva guna. So thus Prabhupada tells, going back to God, it is not so easy. It needs great discipline of mind and body and performance of pure devotional service. So both things are mentioned. We have to perform pure devotional service as well as great discipline is required of mind and body. Great discipline. So thus regulation is required. That is why we have kept the time. What time you are sleeping. If in sleeping regulation is not there, we will be dozing off in the morning. And then where is the question of having good meditation on the holy name if we are not fresh? So Prabhupada tells, unless you feel fresh, you cannot chant Hare Krishna nicely. So feeling fresh is very, very important. So yes, we measure all these things. Anything else? These all parameters we measure, right? And if all these things are all right, then our spiritual life is supposed to be on track. But there is one very important factor in this, which makes all of it very successful and otherwise not useful. And what is that factor? That is, as the disciple is asking Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is telling, in general, sannyasi may live alone, but sannyasi's duty is to preach. So preaching is very important service. That is why we specially measure it, how much preaching we are doing. So Prabhupada is telling this sannyasi, yes, you can live alone. Some sannyasi is living alone. So he's telling, yes, In general, sannyasi may live alone, but sannyasi's duty is to preach. Living alone means stopping preaching? No. You live alone, but you should preach. So the devotee who is sannyasi, he replies that I don't ever want to stop. Prabhupada, yeah, Sudama, I don't ever want to stop preaching. So he's telling, no, I'm living alone, but I don't want to stop preaching. So Prabhupada explains, yes, well, preaching you cannot manufacture preaching. You must do preaching according to the principles ordered by your spiritual master. You cannot manufacture your own way of preaching. That is required. There must be some leader. Under the leadership, Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat, why it is said, everywhere in the office, there is some immediate boss. So you have to please him. That is service. Suppose in office, in a department, there is office superintendent. And if you do in your own way, yes, I am doing my business, and the office superintendent is not pleased, do you think that kind of service is nice? No. Similarly, we have got everywhere, we have got immediate boss. So we must work. That is systematic. If everyone manufactures, invents his own way of life, then there must be chaos. So thus Prabhupada tells very important thing is in executing anything, whether we are chanting, we are hearing, we are waking up or we are sleeping, it must be carried out under the direction of some leadership, immediate authority. That is what makes the process of Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. That is why, as we were discussing, Prabhupada mentions, people think Bhakti Yoga is easy. So Bhakti Yoga is easy when you do on your own way. Shruti Smriti Purana Adi Pancharatra Vidham Vina Ayekantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpataya Kalpate. But such a thing is Utpat. Utpat means Prabhupada tells chaos. Then it will be chaos. If we execute preaching in our own way, I want to preach in my way, and they want to preach in their way, then there will be only chaos. So thus Prabhupada tells nobody can invent preaching. Preaching means under the leadership. In every office there is some immediate boss, there is some leader. If you follow that leader, then there is all success. So that is why the principle is pranipatena. First of all, you go and surrender. Without surrender, if you do seva. So thus I was speaking to one devotee, and he was student of mine when he was school kid, around 12 years ago. And after this, I could connect with him only after the gap of 12 years. So I asked, what are you doing now these days? So he is abroad now, and he was doing his job and business also in that country. And he's preaching also, although he's living alone and the language is so tough. He's learning the language and he's preaching in different language by learning that language. And on his own, he's cooking. His own house, he made a center where people would come morning, evening, or sometimes on the weekends. So he's managing on his own his job, his business. Of course, now he stopped his business because of preaching load. So he's managing on his own everything. And he's doing book distribution, he's doing pamphlet distribution. And in this way, he only is doing on his own everything. And of course, he cannot eat bhoga, so he's cooking also. So everything is being managed. So then I asked him, what are your plans in future? So you want to continue devotional service as grahastha or a brahmachari? So he told, so are you planning to move to temple? So he told, I'm living in temple only, Prabhu. And so it seems that in the temple there he is living. And he is wearing saffron dress also. I think they are a little liberal there because hardly there are any devotees. There is only one devotee in the country, one brahmachari devotee in the country. And for last 50 years, they have been able to make some 40-50 initiated disciples. So the community is relatively small. So they told, you are anyway following everything what a brahmachari is supposed to do. You are doing Mangala Arati, you are getting up in the morning, and you are doing preaching, you are honoring only Krishna Prasadam. So yes, you can wear saffron dress and you can worship the deities. So he told, Prabhu, I am already in temple. What is the meaning of joining? So he told, you wish to join temple or continue the household? I told Prabhu, I'm already in temple. I'm wearing saffron also. So I think I'm joined. So then I asked, who is your reporting authority? So he told Prabhupada, I am reporting to Prabhupada. And so nobody is reporting authority. I told, how then you are living in temple if you're not reporting to any devotee? He told, no, because I pay for my accommodation and prasadam. So they cannot ask me to report to them. So this is important factor. So that is why saffron anybody can wear, correct? Wearing saffron is brahmachari. No, you can purchase or you can dye it. It will become saffron. So if simply wearing saffron is brahmachari, then anybody can pick up saffron. And if wearing kantimala or this thing, shaving head is brahmachari, anybody can do that. If living in temple is brahmachari, so many people they live in temple. So what is actually a brahmachari? What is a temple devotee? One who surrenders completely. So that is actually called a devotee. And here lies the secret. So otherwise we execute very nicely everything, but advancement will be very slow. Because we need to follow Srila Prabhupada. And what is Srila Prabhupada's system? Prabhupada has set up an institution, this movement. And Prabhupada tells this movement is incarnation of Krishna. So surrendering to Krishna means surrendering to his representative, and by whose mercy Krishna has incarnated in the form of this movement. So when we surrender completely to the movement, that means surrendering to Krishna. Otherwise, where is surrender? If we take Srila Prabhupada as authority, yes, of course, we will try to read books, but our mind can cheat us anytime. So where is the surrender? So it's not easy to chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulative principles and worship and preach. It is not easy, definitely. It's commendable. I was so glad that here people struggle to balance their preaching and job or business. But here on his own, he is doing everything. Every day he is conducting reading sessions, 2-hour reading sessions, and 1-hour chanting session in the morning that his friend is taking. So every day they are taking. And then it is Prabhu, by Prabhupada's mercy, everything is so nice. Anybody who comes to us in 2 months, they are able to come to 16 rounds. Because every day we invite them for 2-hour reading session. And thus people follow this thing. And so I was very glad to do this. However, it is not easy. Devotee miss this fine point. And that fine point is of surrender. So thus this devotee, sannyasi, is willing to follow Prabhupada. He is telling that I am not stopping preaching. But what Prabhupada is telling? Preaching means you have to follow immediate authority, boss, leader. So this independence is very difficult to give up even in spiritual life. So that is why we were discussing yesterday in the Milan ceremony. So Prabhupada was explaining Karna Randhai. The favor of the spiritual master is received through the ears. And what is this favor? Yes. So this is very, very important point. So it is not just about Krishna Katha, it is not just about, so Prabhupada tells hearing the philosophy means we should implement also philosophy in our life, then it is useful. So hearing means what we have to hear, what is the favor? Spiritual master knows the nature of the disciple, and thus he tells disciple to engage in a particular way in the service of Krishna. And that instruction, specific instruction, should be taken as life and soul of the disciple. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurundanna. Thus, Prabhupada tells simply by executing our assigned services, we make tremendous advancement in our spiritual life. That is a process of Bhakti Yoga. By doing simple service which we have been assigned, we might do extraordinary work which is not assigned. That may not make us very spiritually advanced compared to a simple, relatively simple service which is assigned to us. This is called actually being a servant. Servant means I am willing to follow, willing to obey. And this is not easy. That is why Prabhupada tells many jnanis, intellectuals, when they actually try to follow the bhakti as per the recommendation of Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Adi, scriptures, and the first regulation is Adav Guru Ashrayam. You surrender to Guru. Sadharm Priksha, and then you ask, what is my duty? And then you execute. Then the stalwarts also, they fall away from the spiritual path. So executing devotional service under the guidance of spiritual master, under the authorities, it is tough. It is not easy. because we all want to retain our independence. It is very dear to us. And Krishna tells bhakti begins from sarv dharman parityajya mamekam sharan, when we give up all independence. So from here bhakti begins, and that is very dear to us. That is the test of real faith on Krishna, when we are able to surrender our independence. Yes, now I surrender to this authority. So that is why people who are not able to have pure devotees as their authorities, they also are supposed to follow 100% surrender. Complete surrender is required. This training is given to every person, as we have discussed in Manashrama system. That is why Madhvacharya quotes from the Vedas. Madhvacharya tells, every wife should see her husband as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Every wife should see husband as Supreme Personality of Godhead. If Supreme Personality of Godhead orders something, can we disobey? No. Similarly, every servant should see Master as Supreme Personality of Godhead. If Krishna comes and tells us, we will execute readily. So similarly, everyone's master should be treated as Supreme Personality of Godhead. Complete surrender should be there for the Master. And what is the degree of this surrender? So of course, if somebody is hearing newly online, you might not be able to digest, but yes, this is the degree of surrender which is expected. And what was that? When Lakshman was told to arrange for Agni Pariksha of Mother Sita. So it was very tough. And Sita was taken as mother by Lakshman. Can somebody put her own mother into fire? No, that is the most. Arjuna was crying just because of this reason. He was supposed to shoot arrows at Bhishma, his grandfather, and Guru and relatives. Who can put one relatives, and especially the dearmost relative is mother. Can somebody put one's own mother on fire? Arrange woods for that? But Lakshman was given this order by Lord Ramchandra. And when Lakshman was given this order, then Lakshman recollected something. What did he recollect? So it is mentioned, he recollected the example of Parshuram. Parshuram, the son of Rishi Jamdagni, he was given a very strange order. What was the order? Yes. So, Parshuram's mother, she was very, very chaste woman. She was so chaste that she developed mystic potencies. So, Pativrata Dharma, it makes a woman very, very powerful, Prabhupada tells, so much so that they develop mystical powers by performance of this dharma. Any kind of austerity, it makes you very, very powerful. So the mystical powers which men would develop by going to jungle, women develop same powers by following Pativrata Dharma, being very chaste, because it is not easy to be chaste. The chastest women in the history, just like the wife of Gautam Muni also, she got cursed because chastity got broken when Indra came in guise of Gautam Muni, husband. So she was cursed to become a stone. They were the most chaste ladies of the universe. And unfortunately, their minds also got carried away. So thus, if we are not perfectly situated in Krishna consciousness, we can be most chaste, but we cannot follow chastity very nicely. It is very tough. That is why Gandhari is glorified. That is why Mandodari is glorified. Although they were wives of people who were very impious throughout their lives, but because they could follow the vow of chastity, it is not easy. Unless one is situated in Krishna consciousness, mind gets deviated. One cannot follow grossly. If somebody is able to follow, even today grossly also, it's a big deal. So if anybody follows any kind of tapasya, they become powerful. Just like Gandhari became powerful by her vision, the body of Duryodhana got solidified immediately. Similarly, the wife of Jamdagni Muni, she was so advanced by her mystical power, she was able to make, because they have to fetch water. So these pipe connections and motors were not there. So you have to go to river to fetch water. So they have to carry vessels, earthen pots and everything to carry. So who will take the load of carrying a vessel? So she would go to the bank, and on the bank itself, she would make vessel out of sand. Now if you make a vessel out of sand, you cannot make, first of all, and it cannot hold water. But by mystical power, she was able to make vessel with sand which would hold power. But it is told that when her mind also got carried away, seeing some demigods enjoying in the rivers, then she lost it. And she took time. And then Jamdagni Muni, he was also a very powerful personality. He was able to understand what has happened. So Jamdagni Muni became very, very angry. And he told, your mother has broken the vow of chastity. How she has broken? She simply thought, some thoughts of enjoyment came in her mind by seeing the demigod who was enjoying with some other angelic women. And this infuriated Jamdagni Muni. And he told Parshuram, now before Parshuram, he told other sons. There were 2-3 other sons. So he told them, I order you kill your mother. So how they can kill mother? So they denied, we cannot kill mother. He told second son, he denied, I cannot kill mother. Finally, he told Parshuram that kill all of them. And Parshuram, incarnation of Krishna, issued by his example that yes, father is authority. Complete surrender is required. And he killed his mother. Chopped off mother's head. And others also. Brothers also and mother also. Entire family. Now this may seem to be outrageous. That what is this thing? Simply because one thought came in the mind of enjoyment, such punishment, is it justified? No, it is not at all justified. It is a sinful activity. Jamdagni Muni was very wrong in giving such an order. And that is why immediately the reaction also came. And the sons of Kartivirarjun, another very powerful king, they came and they beheaded Jamdagni Muni. Because Jamdagni Muni beheaded his wife, it was, yes, some small punishment she deserved, but definitely not the beheading. This was out of proportion. So because Jamdagni Muni ordered her to be beheaded, immediately he also got beheaded. So the reaction came. But did the reaction come to Parshuram? No, because he acted as instrument. So that is why if we are acting as instrument, then the master will suffer. So that is why we have to act as instrument. That is very, very important for everyone in Vedic culture. Even though you are serving a wrong master, master may give wrong instructions, but that is all right. Of course, our life will not be perfect. So materially, of course, we may not suffer, but spiritually we cannot advance unless we are serving now one may tell, if serving master is so nice, then what is the need of serving pure devotee? The understanding is, if you serve your material master nicely, one day after many, many births, you might be elevated to the position of serving a pure devotee of Krishna. Till then, spiritual perfection will not be there. Material elevation you will get for following your master very nicely. So thus, this complete surrender, and we can see surrender to what extent was required. Lord Ramchandra also, he showed similar surrender. Father, for no reason, is telling something, but he told, yes, I will follow. So this complete surrender was there in Vedic, and this is very important. Because if we don't surrender to any personality, then we are on our own. Then we are following our mind, and mind is whimsical, under control of material nature. That is why people are suffering, because they are following their minds. So one is supposed to follow always one's duty, one's authority in the Vedic culture. One is never supposed to deviate. So this is very, very important instruction. Complete surrender. This training is given to everyone in the Varnashrama Dharma. And this is called complete surrender. So how much more surrender is required to a person who is following spiritual life when we find a pure devotee? And from here the spiritual life actually begins, when a person is able to completely surrender. And it is not easy. Mind will rebel, because mind tells, my immediate authority is not perfect. How can I follow? And so mind gives all kind of suggestions, and some apparently wrong suggestions can come, like Jamdagni Muni told, or some other things. Of course, don't follow such suggestions now if they come. So that's Prabhupada told, surrender. So Krishna consciousness means we don't exactly follow Varnashrama Dharma. So Krishna consciousness is meant for intelligent people, as it is told in Bhagavad Gita also. Buddhi grahyam atindriyam. If you have to enjoy that unlimited happiness, you have to be intelligent. So one has to be very intelligent to follow the pleasure of Krishna consciousness. So we have to use our intelligence. If something is clear violation of the regulative principles, then we should disobey. Clear violation. Clear means it is clear. So we don't even eat meat. We don't even kill animals. What to speak of killing human beings? So we are not supposed to do all these things where it is clear violation of the instructions. But in other cases, one must follow, one must completely follow. So thus Prabhupada says, first of all, we should receive such favor. Favor is, how should I engage in service? So this I should ask. So I am chanting 16 rounds, I am getting up early, I am following everything. But I should ask that please give me service. One should ask the authorities, Prabhu, please give me service, what service I can do. And that assigned service if I execute with full faith. So faith is also required. As it is told here, ye thamam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham. As one surrenders unto me, I reward him accordingly. So faithful execution of the service is also, everything depends on faith. So Prabhupada tells, if you are reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita with the faith that I am going to associate with Lord and the devotees of the Lord, then you are actually having association of Krishna and the devotees while reading Bhagavatam. So faith is required. If we have faith, then we are actually associating with Krishna. If we are having faith that the deity is Krishna, then we are actually associating with Krishna. If we are in faith that holy name is Krishna, then we are actually associating with Krishna. So that is why Shuddha Naam means when a person chants in full faith that here it is Krishna himself personally. Entire spiritual life is advancement of faith. So thus faith is required. So if we are able to surrender in full faith that yes, the instruction which I receive from the setup created by Srila Prabhupada, from the movement, this is actually instruction of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. That is why Krishna gives faith in Bhagavatam. Acharya mam vijaniya navamanyeta karichid. Acharya should be taken as not different from me. Mam vijaniyan. Acharya should be taken as myself only. Thus it is told, the spiritual master should be taken as in the same position of super soul. Super soul means Paramatma. Liberated souls, they follow Paramatma from the heart directly. But we are not able to receive Paramatma's instructions from the heart. That is why Paramatma manifests himself in his mercy incarnation as the spiritual master. Spiritual master is incarnation of mercy of Supreme Lord. So thus externally speaks to us directly through his Vapu or through his books, through his devotees. He speaks to us. So spiritual master should be taken, his position should be taken as non-different from super soul. And a little discrepancy in this understanding, it is mentioned, can create havoc in the life of the disciple. So thus Krishna is telling in Bhagavatam, Acharya mam vijaniyan. Acharya should be taken as non-different from me. When Acharya gives something, some instruction, it should be taken as coming from myself. Na avamanyeta. Never disregard, never disobey Acharya. Always follow in all respects. So thus Acharya or Acharya, Srila Prabhupada has given this system. So thus in order to receive favor, one should be very, very eager to ask, how can I engage in the specific service? Please tell me what is specific order. According to whatever you see, I can perform. Please give me some specific order. And that should be taken as life and soul. That makes a person very advanced. This is the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. So unfortunately here sometimes, because it is definitely confidential, Bhakti Yoga is also great mystery, not easy. So here sometimes people miss it. So we have to engage practically ourselves in devotional service like Arjuna shot arrows for Krishna, for the mission of Krishna. So that specific instruction should be asked and should be followed. So whatever chanting, reading, hearing we are doing should be under guidance of authorities. Then that makes it all perfect. So that is why Prabhupada is very careful in pointing out Lord Vishnu, satisfying Lord Vishnu is the highest aim of life, and he can be satisfied only when his servant is satisfied. So we have to satisfy the servant by following the instructions very carefully. So that is why Prabhupada mentions in Bhagavad Gita, spiritual life should be followed. In 3rd chapter, Prabhupada mentions in military discipline. So when we hear of military discipline, usually what we think, Prabhupada is telling, military discipline means maybe punctuality, or some other systems you follow very nicely. No. Prabhupada explains what is military discipline. Obedience is the first law of discipline. Military discipline means obedience. In military, you cannot deny. So somebody asked, what are the benefits, pros and cons of joining military? So various pros are. What is con? You will never be independent. Always you have to follow somebody perfectly, 100%. That is called military. You can never say no. When it is ordered, you are eating food, you have to leave and go. Other places it is not so strict. In military, it is as strict. If your commanding officer tells you come, you are eating, you leave it, you run immediately, whatever is ordered. So obedience, that is very, very strictly followed in military. So this is the meaning. Spiritual life should be followed in military discipline means, first of all, choosing your commander and then following your commander very, very strictly. And that makes things tough. It is not easy. Surrendering is not easy. Some instruction may come, but we have to understand nothing happens by chance. So in this way, when spiritual life is executed, and with faith also, that yes, this system is set up by my spiritual master, so if I follow completely, my life is perfect. And then we see those people who follow this simple thing, they make tremendous advancement. Simply the instruction which is coming, I take that, and we have seen wonderful transformations. Some devotees were coming. So first meeting, they told, I am an atheist. So I told, if you are atheist, why you are coming to classes? It was, no, I find it okay. I find it good. So I am coming. And nothing, no sense how to talk to devotees, no sense how to sit, no sense how to stand. And, and completely, some people do not even know how to stand. And they sing, you are talking and they are looking here and there, shaking their hands and legs. So offensive in standing was. What to speak of talking? And completely loose, nothing. But one thing was very nice, that they were executing whatever was being told. Small sevas were being told, you do this thing. Always ready for seva, always willing. And simply by doing this thing, they made tremendous advancement. And such devotees are wonderful brahmacharis now, doing wonderful seva, tremendous advancement. So showing nothing and no good symptoms. And I told, okay, let them come. I also was not very hopeful. And on the other side, there were some very serious devotees. Serious means damn serious. So the temperature in the city would touch 2 degrees or 0 degrees also at times. It was a tapasya to go out for purchasing groceries and vegetables. So they will see each other's face, who will go out today to purchase. It is so cold. And in such cold, the devotees would come out of campus for Mangalarti by taking bath in winters. I have to wear 4 layers of clothes, and they are coming every morning. Such sincere devotees were there. And very powerfully they were preaching also. Alone they would bring over 100 people in the workshops. They would go and register. And very expert in various skills. So damn serious devotees. They changed their names also. We changed name after initiation. So somehow they were so advanced. One such person I still remember very vaguely, very clearly. That very nice, and he came in touch with Prabhupada books. And while he was preparing for his entrance exam, JE, and somehow he got so inspired. His mother got the book actually. And then mother was talking to him while he was preparing. And usually when we are not in college, we are pure in our habits. So we understand Casey very easily. So he also understood. And he changed his name also. A rhyming name he took in which Krishna's name was there. And he created his email ID also on that name. So thus, very nice devotee. He's convinced about Krishna. His mother was dictating always Krishna book. And he got convinced that serving Krishna is the aim of life and everything. And so thus when we conducted workshop immediately, yes, I want to follow this Krishna consciousness. My mother always told this. See, my email ID is also this. So I thought he was already in touch with movement. I was surprised he was not. Just by listening to his mother, he became so advanced. And thus he did tremendous seva, very particular in sadhana and everything. But one mistake was there. What was the mistake? he was unable to follow what devotees would say. And he was very fired up because, yes, it is told in Prabhupada books, I have to do Mangalarti, I will do that, Mangalarti. It is told in Prabhupada books, I have to preach, I will preach, I will do everything. But unable to follow the directions of the devotees. So he served very nicely for 1 year. Slowly he started getting off, and then later devotees reported he became atheist. He started doubting the philosophy, he lost complete faith. You ask and tell him that, Prabhu, why you are not coming to the sessions? Who has seen that? Who has seen Krishna? Who has seen? Lost complete faith. So thus, if we are depending on our mind, if mind is sattvic, mind can make us Krishna conscious also at times. Then mind can become tamasic tomorrow. Then we also will become tamasic. So that is why Prabhupada tells, what is the situation of liberation? So a person who does not lament, or one who does not hanker when knowledge is present or attachment for sense objects is present. He does not lament, oh, I am still attached to sense objects. No, it does not matter. Attachment is there for sense objects, for eating bhoga, but I will not eat bhoga. I need to eat only Krishna prasadam. He is not worried. I have decided I will follow this thing. So if knowledge is present, I understand that Krishna is Supreme Personality. I've got great clarity I'm serving. Sometimes knowledge may go away, doubts may come. That is the nature of the process of devotional service. In the initial stages, confusion can be there. So thus Prabhupada writes, it is very nice to hear that you never stopped chanting. Even though confusion was there, you continued chanting. So injecting doubts in the mind of devotees is favorite trick of Maya. So I'm very glad that you continued your chanting. Never mind the doubts. So in this way, if I continue to surrender to follow, I surrender and I continue to follow the instructions of my spiritual master, then I am safe. Spiritual master will never tell to stop Krishna consciousness. Then I will proceed. So thus, despite the doubt, despite the confusions, I know I have to follow some leader, some authority. If I do not follow spiritual master, I have to follow material leaders, and the greatest material leaders have led a entire life of depression. So why not follow a person who is always in bliss in every situation? I have to follow somebody, correct? I have to follow a leader. So the wisdom is, I follow a pure devotee who is always blissful in every situation. So that is why it is very, very important. So like this, many other cases also we have seen. Devotees who are very, very sincere, very wonderful in following, very sattvic also, very pure in the habits. But Sattvaguna does not mean Sattvaguna also conditions you in this world. Whereas people who we have seen, yesterday I was talking to a devotee. He told, Prabhu, what has happened in my life, I cannot tell. I never imagined that I will be seeing this life. Prabhupada calls 5th grade, I was less than that. Broke everything. Ate meat of every species except human beings. Whatever species were available. He tells, but I never imagined. So breaking all sometimes the devotees, they hesitate. So Prabhu, this person is very bad in his character, doing everything nonsense. But he is willing to understand, what is this Hare Krishna? I want to know. Should we bring him? What he will do? I told, no, please bring by all means. He has got Shraddha. Shraddha is his first step. He is inquisitive. He wants to know. Never mind. He might be the greatest rogue of the world. Does not matter. But please bring him. So thus, this Krishna consciousness is very unique. Entire Bhakti Yoga is surrender. If one is surrendered, Prabhupada tells, then even a dog can make one's life perfect. Simply if somebody surrenders. If one somehow follows the instructions of spiritual master. Prabhupada tells, you can train your dog also. Like now you train your dog, you bark at the strangers. Similarly, you can train your dog to engage in Krishna service also. So by this training, if dog obeys, then dog also can be liberated. So this is such a simple process. Anybody, so of course those who are in Sattvaguna, for them it is easy to follow and understand. But if they don't surrender, they get lost. They become atheist also. So thus this is the crucial factor. Now we might be very well situated, we might be following, but how much we'll advance depends how much we have surrendered. So thus on the same hand, from the same college, we see this other devotee who was not at all fixed in character, who was not and very tamasic, and he would take bath. He tells, Prabhu, I take bath when I go home. Not daily, not weekly, not monthly. Only when I go home, I take baths. In college, I don't take baths. I told what kind of people are coming to sessions. And he was the first person to become brahmachari from the college. And wonderful devotee, very nice devotee. Because he was always ready to do seva. He did very wonderfully spiritually, he became wonderfully materially also. Everything. So Krishna takes care when he sees somebody surrendered. Yoga Kshema Mahamyaham. His other friends were criticizing that, Prabhu, this person will fail. You tell him to study. He will fail in examination. So this other person failed and he became 9-pointer. Was trying to struggle on his own. And this devotee told, Prabhu, मैंने तो attempt ही नहीं किया था इतने marks का. How I scored so much. Now all my desires are fulfilled. Now I don't want to score anything. I am completely satisfied. So this is the thing. Krishna reciprocates. If you surrender, Krishna also takes care. There is no trouble in the life of a devotee, Prabhupada tells. So there was earthquake, Prabhupada gives example. And all the buildings collapsed. So, but then this devotee was there. His house was intact. It did not collapse. So Prabhupada gives this example when there was famine in the country and people were starving. So I went across Prabhupada in his time when he was householder. I did survey and I found devotees' needs were always met. They were not starving. So yes, sometimes Krishna can test us, the devotees, but usually the devotees are materially also taken very nice care. So please try to realize this secret. Surrender, servant of servant. That is why Prabhupada tells we criticize everything that falls short of complete surrender to Krishna. So Prabhupada writes here, so we should read all these instructions very carefully. So Krishna tells, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvalok maheshwaram. I am the proprietor of all planets. I am the supreme enjoyer. There is a natural position of Lord and natural position of living being is to surrender unto Him. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja. If this relationship continues, then real happiness exists eternally between master and servant. Unfortunately, when this eternal relationship is disturbed, living entity wants to become separately happy and thinks that the master is his order supplier. In this way, there cannot be happiness. So if Sarv Dharman Parityajya, complete surrender is not there, devotee will not be happy. They may chant 16 rounds and as I've given example, another example. We discuss now or later? 3 minutes, 4 minutes we will take. So another example, another person was very sattvic. And all these people whom I am telling, they came in touch magically with Prabhupada books because they are ready. So he also came, his instance I have quoted before also. So he came in touch with Prabhupada books and I received call one day suddenly and he tells I have to take Diksha. So I told Diksha, who are you? And why do you know what is Diksha? And he told everything, he knew complete philosophy. He was preparing for UPSC, then he came in touch and through some things of SSR, some article, then he explored complete SSR. And then he advanced he read all the books, he understood Krishna consciousness, and then he stumbled across some Vrindavan Guru who apparently was preaching Krishna consciousness. I also was following him only before I came here. But then later he tells, I am Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everything. So then he understood he is not right. Then he went to other devotees of ISKCON. And then he told here also some problem is there. So Prabhupada did not tell others to become spiritual masters. Prabhupada only spiritual master. So he discovered everything end to end. And then he told here, you all follow Prabhupada as spiritual master. So I want Diksha. Can I please get Diksha? He was very firm in his vows. And of course, great respect for all these devotees because they have followed whatever. But it is important as we discuss to understand the cases so that we can be safe. So he was following very nicely, 16 rounds and very fired up, very enthusiastic again for sadhana, for his chanting. And continuously he would keep on hearing Prabhupada's voice. He would just plug in the earphones and just would hear entire day. And he would chant up to 64 rounds also. Very fired up, very inspired. He got married. After marriage, he was strictly following all the regulative principles. And living in Dham also. But after all this, he revealed very kindly that he was taking pills for depression. He came into depression. So if you follow Krishna consciousness nicely, the first symptom is what Prabhupada tells? Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. Devotee becomes very jolly. So if we are not jolly, if we are morose, Prabhupada tells, then we are not even following the basic things. Devotee cannot be morose. If you surrender, you become happy. You come to spiritual platform. So thus, what to speak of depression? Means there is some great mistake. So taking depression pills, and then he was so much inspired, Prabhupada, this thing. But one mistake was there. What was the mistake? He would do things on his own accord. He would do seva whatever he wants, whenever he wants, the way he wants. We give seva, he would not be able to stick to it. Although every time he will ask, but he will not be able to stick to it. I assigned seva at least 15, 16 times consciously, and every time he would not be able to follow. Then I gave up, he told. And then he went to other places also, other centers, but he somehow could not follow the task which is assigned to him. Somehow, some people are there, they cannot stick to some task. And then later this happened. And then eventually, he lost faith in Prabhupada and he took initiation somewhere else. He told here, the stress on bhajan is not there. We tell seva and other things. So he took initiation somewhere else, where stress on bhajan is there and this thing. And the result was a depressed life. So thus these people are very sattvic, having very good background. Their families are also very sattvic. And they followed all the rules, regulations. Can you imagine? In marriage, living with wife, very difficult to follow our regulative principles. And he followed very strictly. Everything. Standing 64 rounds, is it easy? He would do, he was doing regularly, but after all this, and the basic doubts came. And then eventually lost faith in Prabhupada. Then he told Prabhupada is my Shiksha Guru, and after this, I have not been in touch with him for many years. So thus we can see how devotees, they lose faith in Prabhupada, they lose faith in Krishna, even though they are very fired up, very inspired. Why? Because this surrender is missing. So if we are not surrendered, then it is very dangerous. So Prabhupada mentions here. Then, if the living entity wants to become separately happy and thinks that the master is his order supplier in this way, there cannot be happiness. And if one is in natural position, sarv dharman parityajya, then one will be happy. So that is why this is very important point. Anything short of it, even externally following Krishna consciousness, will not make us happy. I should find out where is the perfect system where Prabhupada is, where Krishna is being followed very nicely. And there I should 100% surrendered. I should not keep any reservation. I should be willing to do anything, go anywhere, and execute whatever is required in complete 100% surrender. And then we see that is our natural position. Sarv dharman, that is called servant. That is called pure servant. Otherwise, there is some contamination, some personal satisfaction in our service. Pure servant means servant. I have no other option but to follow. And here, if we follow in this way, complete surrender, then you see Krishna takes care. We advance very, very nicely, very fast. So thus other devotees, many devotees who are in gross tamasic nature, not knowing the basic etiquettes also, having all bad habits, but they had this unique thing, surrender. They would execute what is being told. And thus they made tremendous advancement. All are them are doing wonderfully. As grahasthas also, as brahmacharis also, but complete surrender, that has made them successful. So please try to surrender completely as soon as possible, and then we see we are so happy. Life is successful. Any questions? Yeah, we'll come back.
Follow our immediate authority.
Yeah.
And you also said that we should consider them as good as Supreme Personality of Godhead.
No.
Any other example?
Madhvacharya is telling that servant should consider master as Supreme Personality of Godhead. And but here we are supposed to approach higher authorities also. That is a difference here.
What if there are some constraints in our ability to do exactly the devotional service assigned to us?
Yeah.
It may be physical constraint.
Yes.
Then how should we approach it? Is there any room for negotiation?
Okay. So the question is, so apparently was understood that I told we should see our authorities as Supreme Personality of Godhead. No, we are not supposed to follow that. The people in Vedic culture are supposed to see their authorities as Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are supposed to see this institution as Supreme Personality of Godhead, and which is fact. So we are supposed to follow institution. And in institution, we will have our immediate authority. They should be followed as we discussed completely, unless there is some clear violation. If we are dissatisfied, then we are always supposed to go to higher authorities. We can do this thing. And just like husband is authority for wife, wife is supposed to follow. But if husband deviates from principles of Krishna consciousness, then in Krishna consciousness, wife can live separately from husband. That is possible. She is not supposed to treat him as Supreme Personality of Godhead, absolutely. So thus we are not supposed to follow this always. We are supposed to see them as representatives of Prabhupada. Anybody who is authority in the institution. Representatives of Prabhupada. And suppose we see there is some discrepancy, always we are supposed to go to higher authorities. There also we see some discrepancy, which may be there. We can always go to higher authorities. But institution should be followed. So that is why there is complete room for negotiation and expressing ourselves very clearly. So the question is, if I am having some physical problem and my authority tells me you do this thing, I'm not able to do it. I'm not able to lift some load. Then is there any scope, or should I break my back and surrender or break my neck? No, there is scope. We should go, we should ask. And if we are not satisfied, we should go to higher authorities and express. But if the instruction comes from the highest authority, do it, then we must do it.
Had it been a spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, then we would directly have followed.
Yes. So if spiritual master Prabhupada directly would have told us do this thing, then spiritual master is Sakshat Haritvena. He must be seen as Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we would have directly followed. But in his system, our immediate authority might be having some impurities. That is possible. So because there are various levels of authorities. Some might be pure devotees, some might not be very pure. But then we are supposed to follow them as we discussed. But if there is some discrepancy, always we go higher. Yes, welcome. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So now correcting these situations, in Kashmir. So as we know, Kashmiri Pandits, they outsiders invaded Kashmir and they forcibly converted them to their religion and forced them to eat non-veg also and most of them also. So in this case, Kashmir Pandits, most of them, all of them are Brahmins, but because they were forced to eat, so will they get the reaction? Just that question.
So the question is, the talk is about Kashmir. In Kashmir, Kashmir is a province in India where Brahmanas would live predominantly. And then when some invaders they came, they forced them. Forced conversion was there, and they were forced to eat meat. So will they suffer or not? So that is why it is the laws are very complex. Whether a person will be punished or not depends upon legal situation. Somehow, if it is proven that he killed other person in self-defense, then such killing is also not punishable. If it is proven that this person is juvenile, punishment will be mitigated. If it is told that the person was under influence of liquor, then punishment would be mitigated. If it is proven that the person is mad, he might not be punished. So thus the laws are very complex. In which situation, what situation, the rules in emergency when one is forced, they are different than when voluntarily does. Was there a mix of some choice? A person could have stood his ground, worries. So thus it is very complex. We do not know. So that is why instead of understanding the intricacies of the laws of karma, one should completely surrender unto Krishna and then execute it. So in the case of saving one's life, when survival is in question, meat eating is allowed. That is why Ayurveda also recommends some medicines which are made of flesh of animals. Dravyagana or something is the name of the text Prabhupada mentions. But for survival cases, it is not possible to cure yourself with herbs. So you can take meat for survival. But unless it's a question of survival, you should survive on Krishna Prasadam. I cannot tell. reaction is there or not. What I am telling it is very complex. It may or may not be there. So legal experts might be able to tell Dharma Shastra. And legal experts may also commit mistakes. Just like Yamaraj also was cursed when he punished, who was the Muni? Mandukya Muni? Mandukya Muni or Mandavya Muni, somebody. So he told Yamaraj, you do not know how to. Yamaraj is perfect in the matter of judgment, religion. So thus in understanding laws, great mistakes can happen. So that is why Krishna tells, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, surrender completely unto me, I will take care. You follow? Yeah. Yes.
But there are various other statements which looks like in contradiction with this statement. Like Prabhupada himself says that if you are following a wrong spiritual master, then Guru will also go together, the disciple will also go together.
Yes.
And second is, you see a lot of terrorists who are also fully surrendered to their so-called spiritual master.
Yeah.
Mass killing or getting some.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, and in ordinary law of land also we see, whoever is instructing or murdering and whoever is murdering, both are put into it.
Whoever is
Instructing.
Correct. Both are punished. Yes. 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 So the question is that this statement we understood that the person who follows, he will not be punished. But there are other statements also where Prabhupada tells, if the spiritual master, you choose a wrong spiritual master, he goes to hell and the disciple also goes with him. So yes, so that is why we are not telling you should blindly follow anybody. You should follow authority. So father is authority for son. So Parshuram followed him. He was authority. So that is why Vedic culture does not tell blindly take anybody. Qualifications are there for spiritual master. So you will go to hell when he is not supposed to be authority and you are following him. So if you follow your spiritual, then reaction will not be there. You should follow him, your guru. So that is why it is told, the principle is there, Shukracharya. So Shukracharya is supporting demons. But the principle is, if your spiritual master is pleased, you will become very, very powerful. So because they pleased Shukracharya, they were able to become so immensely powerful, they were able to throw out Indra also from the heaven. Because they followed this principle, he is a Brahmana. So if a person is not a Brahmana, you take him as spiritual master, you will go to hell. Both will go to hell. So that is why donation also, it is told. If you give to a wrong person, so he will be committing sinful acts, he will suffer. Because of your money committed sins, so you will also go to hell. So that is why charity to the right person, authority also should be right person. Then there is safety. So that we have to judge, yeah. So that is why Varnashrama system was so nicely designed. King's duty is to see that Brahmana is Brahmana. So thus Prabhupada tells. So once there was confusion, how to figure out Brahmana. So then king told that all the Brahmanas can come here and they can perform their rituals and their worship, their duties nicely, and I will take care of them. So people ask, then how will you judge? Everyone will take advantage, then he will tell, I am Brahmana. So king told, let them come. So everyone came there, and how a king would see whether a person is Brahmana or not? How do we judge what are the qualities of Brahmana? Patan Patan, he would be studying, reading the Vedas, teaching, and various qualities are there. No, king would not test by all these things. Prabhupada tells, king would test by grocery bills. So if in grocery bills, more chilies are ordered, so king would tell, throw this person out, he is a Shudra. He is not a Brahmana. So Shudras are very fond of chili and pungent odors and this thing. And one who will order sweets more, he'll tell he is Brahmana, he is nice. We'll maintain him. So thus unique characteristics are there. So thus it was the duty of the king to see that Brahmana is following the duty of Brahmana, and Kshatriya, anyway, they are following their duty. Vaishya is doing the duty of Vaishya, and Shudra is doing his duty. So in this way, in Varnashrama system, following the authorities was clear. So thus one has to be wise. This is the meaning of statement. Krishna consciousness, yeah. So the next question, good question is, so but Bali Maharaj rejected his authority. So he rejected because he was speaking against Krishna consciousness, against service of Krishna. So that is why in Krishna consciousness, one's authorities can be rejected and not otherwise. So because the demons followed their spiritual master, they became powerful and glorified because they don't know Krishna consciousness. That time he did not speak against Krishna. He was telling, do yajna, do all these things. It is not clear. That is why it is told. So the question is why Bali Maharaj did not reject Shukracharya before only. Why he waited for so long time. So that is why spiritual master, he can be judged only through ears, it is told, by hearing. So when the instruction, spiritual master is giving, many instructions would be similar. That is why the instruction that I am not the body, this instruction even Hiranyakashipu is giving to his mother. So he does not become a Brahman or a spiritual master by speaking this. So thus other instructions are all right. But finally, just as I told, so this other guru which I was following, he completely speaks Gaudiya Vaishnavism, completely. Everything what you find in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, and same thing, and moksha, bhakti, moksha, laghutukrit, all these things he will quote. Finally, he will tell, finally, that I am Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bas. Finally, he is telling, I am Krishna, I am Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And because I am Krishna, you are Gopi, let us do Ras Leela. That is his final instruction. Before that, everything is completely Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So one can get misled. So I was following, and then finally, when we discovered, oh, he is telling this thing, then we rejected. Online? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, sometime I came across some Mayavadi and anti-ISKCON video. Then my faith shakes a bit.
Yeah.
How to stop this doubting?
So the question is, sometimes I came across a Mayavadi impersonalist video which was anti-ISKCON. So that is why we have to be very careful of the propaganda. Just like some days back, one video got surfaced up that one leader of the country, she's telling that these ISKCON people are most duplicit in the world. Why? Because they are maintaining a Goshala where no dry cows you will find, no cows you will find. Only it is simply dairy they are maintaining, the cows which are giving milk. Then immediately after 2 days, another devotee surfaced up, and this video is shot 1 month before this testimonial came. And the same Goshala circumstantially was being shot because sometimes when people visit temple they shoot it. So there's so many calves are there in the same Goshala, so many cows and so many calves. So here we see that. So that is why propaganda is very powerful. Just like another video is in circulation, right? That this ISKCON temple sends so much money abroad that even Colgate company does not spend, especially this ISKCON Bangalore. And when this video was made earlier, I think Rajiv Dikshit's voice it is. So that time we did not even have centers in the US. Why shall we send money to US? Now, of course, we have some. So baseless allegations. So earlier I came across some of his videos. So then I became completely faithless. See how confidently he's speaking. And because I was there in Bangalore, we know what is in Bangalore. Where do we spend money? What happens? And he's speaking very confidently. People will believe in his words. So this is the material world. People are so confident. And very confidently they will tell. And they themselves are in depression. But they will tell others how to come out of depression. There's the cheating which is going on in the world. So that is why we should be careful. We should be very careful in choosing our propaganda. And the most important thing is we should be very, very sincere and serious. If we are sincere and serious in the heart, Krishna will guide from the heart what to do. But if I want to be cheated, let me have something, some material enjoyment, and let me follow some part-time spiritual life, then we may get deviated. So I request, please be very sincere and serious, and then we'll be protected.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, why in all the fights and all the Kshatriya incarnations like Krishna and Rama, they used to hunt animals?
Question is why in all the fights and in the Kshatriya incarnations, even Lord would kill animals or Kshatriyas would kill animals because Kshatriya has to practice. So animal killing is a sinful activity. But in material world, it is compared to a chariot. So if anybody has to live in this material world, chariot runs on two wheels. So one wheel is told in Bhagavatam is that of piety, another wheel is of impiety. So one has to do sins in this material world. One cannot avoid sins. But still, one should not shy away from one's duties on the plea that my duty involves sinful activity. So there are sinful activities in everyone's duties. A businessman has to do sin of telling lie. I am selling at zero profit, sir. Otherwise, nobody will purchase. If he tells, even if he tells this is at zero profit, if he sells, they will further bargain because they cannot believe. So such lie is allowed to Vaishya. Similarly, Kshatriya, if he does not practice killing animals, how he can kill in the real time? He'll faint if little blood he sees on the battlefield. Some people are not able to see blood, so he has to practice killing. Killing is not easy. One has to be strong-hearted. And then marksmanship. Enemy will not sit in Vajrasan. Okay, kill me now. He will jump, and so moving targets you have to target. Then you have to practice in the jungle. And then another reason it is told in Bhagavatam is the ferocious animals. Their population has to be kept in control so that sages and jungle are not disturbed. These are various reasons for which Kshatriyas are encouraged to do killing. But definitely it is sinful. That is why to counter these sinful activities, they are supposed to do 5 kinds of yajna every day. So there are sinful activities involved, and this material nature has got inbuilt intelligence. Nobody will come and personally give you. Just like we are designing artificial intelligence, Krishna has designed intelligence in the laws. Laws will automatically punish you if you are indulged in some kind of killing. So to counter that, one is supposed to do Pancha Yajna every day, 5 kinds of Yajna. So now in Kali Yuga, we can do it by Sankirtan Yajna, honoring Krishna Prasadam. We are freed from such unavoidable sinful activities.
ISKCON temple is far from my place to serve Lord Krishna. So I do pujas, chanting in the house only, and regularly listening to your lectures. What I shall do to serve Krishna?
Okay, the question is that ISKCON is very far from my house. So I do my puja regularly at home, follow Krishna consciousness, and I listen to the lectures. So what else do I do? So as we discussed, please try to connect with the devotees and find out specific instruction how you can engage in service of Krishna. This is very important. So try to find out specific instruction how you can help in the mission by practical service, and try to engage in that way. And virtual association can be taken. Every day the devotees are taking online classes every day. So try to join them. So every day we have to meet with devotees. That is very important. Morning, evening, we should execute sadhana with devotees. So both times not possible, at least one time to begin with. So join virtual association. And then whenever you have time, please drop by to any of our temples. And just like people go to visit hill stations, other places, you go and come and stay in ISKCON temples. Then in an association of devotees, you follow all the things nicely. Or you can, especially do not miss trips. The trips, pilgrimages are very, very powerful for spiritual advancement. So in this way, you can have, and then devotees will train you how to preach and develop a local community. And then you also can have physical association. You can live with devotees. So in this way, try to have association and advance. So we'll finish here. Granth Ra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki